13 stars in a newborn sky, a republic learning how to stand. Washington saw the rivers wide, knew the future lived in distant land. He spoke of roads through the mountains tall, a way for every settler's hand to carry hope beyond the fall of forests deep in freedom's plan. Ride on through the valleys and the plains, through the storms and the sun and the sky-wide range. Presidents guiding with maps on the road, a nation growing bold. Ride on where the frontier calls, past timber forts and canyon walls. The story of the West was written slow through every life they'd known.
Jefferson dreamed like a scholar sage, a farmer's will from shore to shore. He bought a land that dwarfed the age. Louisiana opened every door. From Bayous warm to the Rockies rise, he sent 2 men, brave hearts untied, to chart the world beneath the skies, a land the nation's eyes.
Madison, Monroe, and the Western Guard. Madison held the line in war, while settlers pushed to the Great Lakes shore. Monroe declared with quiet might, this hemisphere is ours to guard and fight. Beyond the river's homesteads spread, cabins built in timber red, and families carved from wilderness, a life where freedom led. Ride on through the valleys and the plains, through the storms and the sun and the sky-wide range. Presidents guiding with maps on road, a nation growing bold. Ride on where the frontier calls, past timber forts and canyon walls. The story of the West was written slow through every life they'd know.
John Quincy Adams, thinker strong, saw rivers as the nation's veins. He built the roads that rode along through forests dark and stretching plains. He dreamed a nation coast to coast, where commerce tied each distant post. He fought for science, land, and law, westward skies he saw.
Andrew Jackson, fierce and proud, champion of the farmer crowd. Open lands by force and claim, but left behind a trail of shame. While settlers rushed the open fields and cotton spread in rising yields, the nations native to the ground were torn from ancient mounds.
Van Buren held a heavy hand, removal laws across the land. He watched them march through grief and tears, a trail remembered through the years. But still the settlers moved ahead, seeking timber, gold, and bread. And in the wake of loss and fear, the western line drew near.
Ride on through the valleys and the plains, through the storms and the sun and the sky-wide range. Presidents guiding with maps on road, a nation growing bold. Ride on where the frontier calls, past timber forts and canyon walls. The story of the West was written slow through every life they know.
John Tyler watched the Texan cry, a republic wanting to unify. He opened doors that Polk pushed wide, with manifest destiny at his side. Polk drew maps to the ocean blue, claimed the Oregon country too, and through the storms of Mexico, the eagle's shadow grew.
Zachary Taylor, soldier bold, saw western lands and stories told. He held the peace but died too soon, a fading star beneath the moon. Fillmore took the burden next, kept California in the text, as miners chased the golden streams that shimmered through their dreams.
Pierce pushed trails from east to west, stream trade that touched the ocean's crest. But storms of slavery split the land, a nation trembling where it stand. Buchanan watched the factions rise, no compass steady in his eyes. And as the West filled fast with souls, the Union shook in tolls. The West they made,
Ride on through the valleys and the plains, through the storms and the sun and the sky-wide rains. Oh, presidents guiding with maps unrolled, a nation growing bold. Ride on, where the frontier calls, past timber forts and canyon walls. The story of the West was carved in time, in struggle and in climb. Ride on, for in the dust of wagon wheels, in hopes the homestead heart conceals, they form communities out west, where every dreamer sought their rest. From Washington's quiet early wish to Polk's bold claim of coast to coast, the western world they shaped by hand became the heartland we know most. A story told by lives and laws, by choices great and great. The presidents who opened West left legacies both cruel and brave.